Greetings from Placements Key. I welcome you all to the fourth lecture series on TCS NQT test that was conducted on October 24th. Okay, sorry, it is October 24th at slot 1. Okay, these are memory based questions. You know, in the first three parts, I've covered questions from 1 to 16. Please do watch them if you have not watched them yet. Yeah, now I'll be resuming from question number 17. In a competitive exam, 5 marks are awarded for every correct answer, and for every wrong answer, 2 marks are deducted. Yeah. So for every correct answer, 5 marks are awarded, and for every wrong answer, 2 marks are deducted. That is, the penalty is -2. Okay. Now Satvik somehow has attempted the test and he has scored 32 marks in the exam. Let's say he's answered A questions correctly and he's answered B questions incorrectly. Okay. Now tell me, like, for each correct answer, he's got +5. So for A correct answers, he gets 5A. For each incorrect answer, he receives a penalty of -2. For B incorrect answers, he receives a penalty of -2B. So after this, he's got the total score to be what? 32 marks. So this is what is given. Yeah, fine. Let's read it further. If 4 marks has been awarded for each correct answer and 1 mark for incorrect answer. Yeah. So let's say now for correct and the wrong, so it is like what? +4 is awarded for a correct answer and -1 is deducted. Yeah, 1 mark had been deducted for each incorrect answer. He would have scored 34 marks. Now we know that he's answered A correctly and then B incorrectly. That's what we have assumed earlier. Yeah. So for each correct answer +4. So he gets 4A, and then here for each incorrect answer penalty of -1. So -1 into B minus B. So this is equal to what? 34. So how shall we go about it? We can either follow substitution method or the elimination method. Yeah, because you have two equations, two variables. So what shall we do? We have a -2b here, you have b here. So I'll multiply this by 2. So what do we get? We get 8a minus 2b is equal to 68. And let's take the first equation. Okay, 5a minus 2b is equal to 32. Now let's see what happens. Just subtract minus into minus plus, plus into minus minus. So we get 3a is equal to, these get cancelled. 68 minus 32 is what? 36. That implies the value of a is 12. What is 12 that you have assumed? The number of questions that he answered right. Yeah. So again, to get the value of b, you can, either substitute in this equation, see, in this equation, or in this equation. Yeah, in either of the equations you can substitute to find the value of b. Yeah, so let me take this equation. 4a minus b is 34. 4a, so a value is 12, right? So 4a is 48 minus b is equal to 34. So you get what? B value is equal to 48 minus 34, that is 14. Okay, now you've got the incorrect answers. The number of questions that is answered incorrect is 14. Number of questions is answered right is 12. Therefore, what are we supposed to find? We are told that he has attempted all the questions. Therefore, the total number of questions in the test would be what? It would be 12 plus 14. Yeah, 12 plus 14, that is 26. That is option D. Yeah, it's a very simple question. You have two equations, two variables. Yeah, you can figure out the answer. Let's move on to the next one. A sum invested on simple interest. Okay, simple interest based questions are always simple. Okay, grows to rupees 22,500 and rupees 25,500 in 7 and 9 years respectively. That is, see, there was some principle. Okay, after 7 years, in 7 years, okay, in 7 years it has grown to what? Rupees 22,500. Okay, now what is this 22,500? Let's also try to analyze this. What is this 22,500? It includes the principal plus the interest earned for 7 years, right? Because it is after 7 years, this is the amount that is given here. Yeah, find the principal plus the interest earned for 7 years. Now again, after 9 years, this is the amount. Okay, so P after 9 years is how much? Rupees 25,500. Yeah, again, this is the amount after 9 years. So this includes the principal plus the interest earned for 9 years. Yeah, so again, see, you've got two variables, two equations. You can easily find the value of p and I here. Yeah, p plus 9i is so much, p plus 7i is so much. So now if you subtract these two, what do we get? Yeah, p get cancelled. Okay, let me do it. minus minus minus. So what is it? 22,500 minus 25,500, you get minus 3,000 is equal to, these two get cancelled, you get minus 2i. So therefore you get the rate of interest, sorry, you get the interest earned per year. I is what? Interest earned in 1 year. Yeah, it is 1500 rupees. I is the interest earned in 1 year. Okay. Now we can also figure out the value of P, right? So you can substitute in either this equation or this equation. Okay, so let's try to figure out. Yeah, let me take the first equation, this equation as such. So what is it? We know that P plus 7i is equal to 22,500. Yeah, now we already know the value of I. So P plus 7 into 1500. You know, 15 sevens is 10,500. Yeah, 15 sevens are not 5. So is equal to 22,500. So what is the value of P that you get? 22,500 minus 10,500. You get it as 12,000. Yeah, so see here, two equations, two variables. Yeah, you've got the value of P, you've got the value of I. Now what is the percentage rate of interest? Yeah, the percentage rate of interest. So what is it? How do you calculate? So how much is interest on principal? Yeah, so what is the rate of interest is what is being asked. Okay, what is it? It is I by P into 100. Yeah, so what is the interest that you've got? It is 1500, and then on principal 12,000 into 100. So this gives us the required percentage rate of interest. What is it? It is 0 0 0 0 gone. What else we have here? You have 3 4s 12. Okay, you have a 40, 3 5 15, and a 0 is gone. You get it as 50 by 4, that is 12.5%. You know, right? The rate of interest is always calculated on principal as a percentage of principal. What is rate of interest? Interest upon principal into 100. Yeah, you get the answer as 12.5%. I hope this question is clear to everyone. Yeah, see here what we have done. This is a principal after 7 years. So amount, it amounts to 22,500. So what does it mean? It includes principal plus, you know, interest for every year. The simple interest for every year will be same. So for 7 years it will be 7i. Similarly, P after 9 years, so it is 25,500. You know that again it includes a P as well as the interest accrued for 9 years. Yeah, on solving you get the value of I, and then you get the value of P, and then you're supposed to find the rate of interest. Yeah, you get it as 12.5%. okay, which is what? Option D. Now what is sum which when divided among x, y, z in the proportion of 3:5:7? Okay, first the given sum, let's say sum, it is divided, this sum is divided in the proportion of what? We have 3 people, okay, x, y, and z. So it's divided in the ratio of 3:5:7. Okay, so let's assume the ratio constant to be x. So what are the values? They are 3x, okay, 5x, and then 7x. That is, x receives 3x, y receives 5x, and z receives 7x. Now what is the total sum that is given to them? 3x plus 5x, 8x, plus 7x is 15x. This is the total sum that is distributed among x, y, and z. Yeah, now what are they saying? Now it is what? It is, in the second case, the amount is distributed among them in the ratio of 11:15:19. Yeah, this sum, the same sum, yeah, the same sum, now it's distributed among them in the ratio of 11:15:19. okay, so let's include a ratio constant y. So that is 11y. Why? Because it can't be x, right? Because the ratio constant for this is x, therefore the ratio constant for this would be y, a different value. Yeah, 11y, 15y, and 19y. So these are the amounts that is given to x, y, and z respectively. Now what is the total sum? 11 plus 9 is 30, 30 plus 15 is 45y. Yeah, the total sum that is distributed is 45y. We know that the same sum is distributed. Yes, think about it. You are giving the same sum in different ratios. The sum remains same. Yes, the sum is always the same. Therefore we can equate 15x and 45y. okay, I hope this is clear. X is equal to, you get it as 3y. Now let's read the question which we have not read earlier. See, initially it was distributed in the proportion of this. Now what are they saying? What is the sum which when divided among this provided rupees 8,000 more to z than it would have done when the proportion? Okay, now what they're saying is, now when it is distributed in this proportion, whatever z received, whatever z received, okay, it is 8,000 more than what z receives in this proportion, it seems. Is it clear? What I'm saying is z receives so much when distributed in this proportion. Let's say, let me name it as z1, and z receives z2 when distributed in this proportion. What they're saying is he gets 8,000 more, you know, when it is distributed in this proportion, it seems. What are they saying? They are given z1 minus z2 is equal to 8,000. Okay, so we know what is the value of z1. It is 7x. Yeah, so 7x minus z2 value is 19y. Yeah, whatever z receives, yeah, 19y, this value is equal to 8,000. So we know x value is 3y, right? So 7 3 is 21y, so you get 21y minus 19y is equal to 8,000. Yeah, so you get 2y is equal to 8,000, and then you get the value of y to be 4,000. Yeah, 4,000. Okay, now what are we supposed to find? Are we supposed to find the value of y? We are supposed to find the total sum. Yeah, find the sum. What is the sum? Therefore, how can we find the sum? You can either substitute in this or in this. Okay, let's go ahead with the you know, this 45y, because we got the value of y. Yeah, what is 45 into 4,000? 45 into 4,000. Yeah, 45 into 4,000. You know, 45 into 4 is how much? 45 into 2 is 90. 92 is 180. So you get 180,000. 1,80,000. That is the total sum that have been distributed. Yeah, so what is it? It's option B. Is it clear? See, the idea behind this is, in both the cases the sum is the same, but just that the proportion in which the sum is distributed among x, y and z differs. Now one more condition is, whatever z received in the first case is 8,000 more than what z received in the second case. Okay, that's why we've written z1 minus z2 is 8,000 and simplified it. Yeah. So let me take this. What is the value of this power 1 by 7? So what is it? Is 0.1234128 power 1 by 7. Okay, so we know a power 1 by n. What is the formula? A power 1 by m is what? What is the identity? It is nth root of m. Sorry, it is mth root, right? Is mth root of a. Okay, let's say if you have a power 1 by 2, what does that mean? It is square root of a. Similarly, it is what? 7th root of this value. Yeah, so let's try to write this as 128 into how many you know, digits are there after decimal? 1 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So into 10 power minus 7, because it is point, right? After point you have it. Yeah, 0.000. Yeah, it is 10 power minus 7. 128 into 10 power minus 7. Okay, now we have power 1 by 7 here. Okay, now what is it? A into b whole power 1 by 7. What is it? It is a power 1 by 7 into b power 1 by 7. So here what is it? It is 128 power 1 by 7 into 10 power minus 7 whole power 1 by 7. So what happens? 7 7 cancel. So you only have minus 1 here. Yeah, and you know, 128 is 2 power 7, right? 2 power 5 is 32. 2 power 6 is 64. 2 power 7 is 128. So you have what? 7 7 cancel again. So a power m whole power n is a power m into n. Yeah, into 10 power minus 1. So effectively what do you have? 2 into 10 power minus 1. So it is 2 by 10. Yeah, because a power minus m is 1 by a power m. Therefore 10 power minus 1 is 1 by 10 power 1. Yeah, so 2 by 10, you get the answer as what? 0. What is it here? It is option A. Yeah, it's all about identities. Okay, the exponential identities. Yeah, if you know that, you can easily correct this question. Yeah, now after purchasing 2 copies of the same book, X sold them respectively at 0.8 and 1.4 times your cost price. Okay, so 2 books are there. Okay, the cost price are same. Yeah, cost price are same because it's the same book that's being purchased. Yeah, let's say the cost price is like what? Let's name it as 100x. Yeah, cost price here also is 100x. Now what happened? He sold one book at a what? At 0.8 the cost price. So what is selling price of this book? Selling price one, it is 0.8. 0.8 into 100x is 80x. Similarly, the second book is sold at what? 1.4 times the cost price. 1.4 into 100 is 140x. Okay. Now what is the percentage gain earned or loss incurred by X? Now, how do you calculate the percentage gain? Now, tell me, like, do, is he profitable? Like, is the entire transaction profitable to him? Think about it. See, in this case, so what is it that he's bought for 100, but he's given out for 80x. So there is a loss here. There's a loss of how much? 20x. Okay, whereas in this case, his purchase for 100, he sold it for 140. So there is a profit. There's a profit of how much? 40x. So surely, effectively, he has got profit, because in this case he has lost 20x, whereas in this case he has gained 40x. So effectively, how much did he gain? Effectively, he has gained 20x, isn't it? His loss for his gain 40, his lost 20. So effectively, he has gained 20x. So this is the gain. Okay. Now what are we supposed to find? We are supposed to find in terms of percentage. So what is it? Gain percentage. Yeah, gain percentage is what? Gain by CP into 100. Yeah, so what is gain here? 20x by cost price. So most of students, what they do is that they'll take cost price as 100x. No, this is the entire transaction that we are considering. Yeah, the 20x is a profit that is earned on both the transactions. Therefore, the cost price is the overall cost price, 100x plus 100x on 200x. On purchasing articles worth 200x, he's got a profit of 20x. Therefore, 20x by CP is 200x into 100. So 0, 0, 0, 0 gone, x is gone, 2 gone. Yeah. So what is the answer that you get? You get it as 10%. Yeah. So the answer is 10%. What? 10% loss or gain? It is gain. Is it clear? Is gain 20x on 200x. Therefore, it is 10% gain. Okay, which is option B. Okay. The only trap that the students may fall into is this one. They would have calculated everything thoroughly till here, but here in denominator they would probably choose 100x, but it's not 100x, because he's got 20x as gain on both the transactions. So we will have to consider the overall cost price. Overall cost price is 200x. Therefore the answer is 10% gain. Okay, so the next question, two vessels X and Y of capacities 1 and 2 liters. Okay, there is a vessel and this capacity is what? 1 liter. There is Y whose capacity is 2 liters. They're completely filled. Okay, they are completely filled. Okay, I'll also write this, completely filled. Now, with mixtures of two chemicals. So we have A and B. Yeah, the chemicals A and B. Here also we have two chemicals A and B. The ratio by volume of the chemicals A and B in X and Y are 3:2. So it is 3:2 here, whereas in this case it is 4:5. 4:5. Now the contents of A and B are mixed, and yeah, so fine. Let's compute till here. Okay, there are two vessels X and Y, and in each of the vessels we have got two chemicals A and B. And in this case it is 3:2. In this case it's 4:5. Now how many? Like what is the volume of A in the first vessel? What is it? 3 parts out of total parts, 5 parts into 1 liter. Yeah, let me repeat. How do we get this? We know that it is what? We know that it is 3, right? So 3 parts out of total, how many parts are there? 5 parts into the total value, it is 1 liter, because it's completely filled. So it is into 1. Okay. So this is the volume of A. Similarly for B, what is it? 2 parts out of total 5 parts into, again, we have the total volume is 1. Therefore, effectively, there is 3 by 5, 3/5 of liters of A and 2/5 of liters of B. Okay. Now in this case, what is same thing? Okay, 4 parts out of totally how many parts are there? 9 parts into 2 liters, because it's completely filled. Therefore the total volume is 2 liters. 2 liters. Similarly, this 5 parts, how many liters of B do we have in the second vessel? 5 parts divided by total 9 parts into total volume, it is 2 liters. This is what we've got. What are they saying? These contents of A and B are mixed and combined, and the combination is kept in vessel C of capacity 4 liters. Now these are combined. Now these are combined. Okay, if these are combined, what happens now? What is the combined volume of A that you have, and what is the combined volume of B that you have? Combined volume of A, you've got 3/5 of a liter in the first vessel, and you know 8/9 the liters in the second vessel. So let me add that. 3/5 plus 8/9. Similarly, what is the volume of B? It is 2/5 plus 10/9. Yeah, 2/5 plus 10/9. So let's do the LCM here. It is 45. 5 9s 45, 9 3s 27, plus 9 5s 45, 5 8s 40. Similarly here also the LCM is 45. 5 9s 9 2s 18, 9 5s 45, 5 10s 50. So we've got how much here? 40 plus 27 is how much? 67/45, and then it is what? 68/45. Let's take the ratio, because we are told that the ratio is supposed to be 1:1. The ratio of A and the ratio of B in the combined vessel is what? It is 1:1. Therefore this cancel, you get 67:68. But for that to be 1:1, what should happen? No, let's divide everything by 67. Okay, so what do we get? I'm sorry, let's divide by 68. Okay, you understood till here, right? 45 45 cancel. Okay, now we've got the ratio of them to be 67:68, but we want to be 1:1. Okay, so what happens? Let me transpose the 68 to this side. So what do we get? We get 67/68 is to 1. Is to 1. Okay, now think about it. Now for this to be 1:1, what should be added to A? What should be added so that you get 1 here? Think about it. You understood till here, right? It is 67:68. Now we are transposing 68 to this side, so we get 67/68 is to 1. Now what happens? For this to be 1, what should be added? 1/68 should be added. What happens if it is 1/68? 67 plus 1 is 68/68, so that it becomes 1:1. Therefore what should be added to it? 168. 1/68 has to be added to this, so that the ratio of A and B will be 1:1. What is it? It is option C. Okay, most of the students would have done till here, 67:68. Then you'll have to transpose this to this side, because we are concerned about A, not about B. We are not adding anything to B. Therefore it is supposed to be 1, and this, it is, you are dividing this, 68 comes here, so it is 67/68. So for this to become 1, you are adding 1/68, so that 68/68 becomes 1. That is why the answer is 1/60. Okay, the marks scored by a student out of 100. Okay, this is out of 100. Let me write it here. It is out of 100. All these values are out of 100. Okay, there are 4 consecutive tests. Okay, tests are conducted, you know, in 4 consecutive monthly tests. Okay, held in 2019. Okay, in English and mathematics. Okay, this is English and this is mathematics. Blue color is English, orange is mathematics. There are 4 tests. Now in which month is the difference of the marks scored in the 2 subjects the highest? Difference has to be highest. Okay, here it is, see, clearly it is 70. It is what? 85, approximately 85, right? It's between 80 and 95. So what is the difference in this case? It is 15. Let's check it here. It is 80 here. It is 80, right? I hope you are understanding. It's 80 here, whereas what is this here? It is 60. 60. So what is the difference in this case? It is 20. Yeah, in the first, in the January the difference was 15. In February the difference is 20. In this case, you know, it's between 70 and 80, so it is 75 here, and it is at 60. What is the difference in this case? It is again 15. Let's check. So this is definitely not the answer, because they are close apart. Yeah, see here, it is between 60 and 70, so I'm taking it as 65. It is between 70 and 80, so it is 75. I hope you know how to take the values. Yes, I'll explain for one you know, month alone. See what is happening here. It is April, right? See here, this entire line is for 60, this entire line is for 80, this is for 70. Okay, so think about it, this is between 60 and 70, so we are taking it as 65 because it's exactly in the middle, so this is 65. Similarly, if you are taking orange line, see, this is what? This is 70 and this is 80, so again it is between 70 and 80, right? So what is it? You get it as 75. What is the difference? It's only 10. So it's, the difference is highest in which month? It is highest in the February month. Yeah, see, by looking at the graph itself you can definitely say this, but you know, for your understanding I've also explained using the values. Yeah, so the answer is February for this question. So the mean of the set data is 5. Okay, the mean is given as 5. Now what will be the mean if 10 is subtracted from each data? Okay, now let me take an example. Okay, let me take 1, 2 and 3. What is the mean of this? Mean is sum of observations by number of observations, yeah, or yeah, whatever. I don't want to explain more shortcuts in this, so let me go with the conventional way. Mean is what? 3 plus 2 plus 1, 6 divided by number of observations 3. Sum is 6, number of observations is 3, so you get the mean as 2. Yeah, now let's say I'm increasing each of the values by 2. Let's see what happens. What is 1 plus 2? It is 3. What is 2 plus 2? It is 4. 3 plus 2? It is 5. So I've increased each of the values by 2. So what happens now? What is mean now? Again, sum of observations. 5 plus 4, 9. 9 plus 3, 12. Divide by number of observations, 3. So 12 by 3, you get the mean as 4. If you carefully observe what is happening, when each of the values has increased by 2, the mean also increased by 2. It was 2, now it is 2 plus 2, that is 4. So if each of the individual values is increased by 2, the mean is also increased by 2. Let me take one more example. Let me take minus 1. Okay, so each of the terms is decreased by 1. So what is it now? 1 minus 1, it is 0. 2 minus 1, it is 1. 3 minus 1, it is 2. Now what is happening? So now see what is the mean. Again, 0 plus 1 plus 2, 3 by 3, that is 1. So the actual mean was 2, now it is 1. So what is happening? The mean also decreased by 1. Therefore, when each of the individual terms is increased by 2, the mean also increased by 2. When each of the individual terms is decreased by 1, the mean also decreased by 1. Yeah, let's go ahead with the same thing. What will be the mean if 10 is subtracted from each number? Just now we have discussed, when 1 was subtracted from each number, the mean was also decreased by 1. So therefore, when each of the data is decreased by 10, mean also decreased by 10. Therefore, the new mean will be what? 5 minus 10. Value is what? Minus 5. Option C. Okay, for your information, if each of the terms is multiplied by 2, the mean will also multiply by 2. If each of the terms is divided by 3, mean will also be divided by 3. Okay, please remember all of this. These are the properties of mean. Let's move on to the last question in this set. Okay, so 5 power x into 3 power y is equal to 225 into 405. So we'll have to factorize each of this and try to write in terms of 5 power something and 3 power something. Let me first take 225. What is 225? 225 value is 15 square. Yeah, it is 15 square. What is it? It is 3 into 5 whole square. Yeah, 15 is 3 into 5, right? 3 into 5 whole square. So you get 3 square into 5 square. Okay, we can split 225 as 3 square into 5 square. Let's take 405. What is 405? It is what? If you divide by 5, clearly it is 81 into 5. You already know what is 81. 81, 3 square is 9 and then 3 square is 9. So 81 is 3 power 4. Yeah, 3 square into 3 square. 3 power 4 into 5. So you have written this. Now let's write the values. 225 is 3 square into 5 square, and then 405 is 3 power 4 into 5. We already know this int, right? What is it? A power m into a power n is equal to a power m plus n. When bases are equal, you will add the powers. So here the bases are equal, therefore you will add the powers. 3 power 2 plus 4, that is 6 into, similarly 5. Here also the bases are equal, therefore you will add the powers. 2 plus 1, 5 power 3. Now this is given as 5 power x into 3 power y. Clearly on comparison, what is the value of x? The value of x is 3. Yeah, the value of x is 3, and then what is the value of y? 3 power y is equal to 3 power 6. So the value of y is 6. Yeah, now that you've got x and y values, you are supposed to compute this x to y, that is x into 2 into y minus 3 into x. This is what we are supposed to compute. X into 2 into y minus 3 into x. So x, it is 3 into 2 into y value is 6 minus 3 into x is 3. We are just substituting the values of x and y in this. Okay, that's it, nothing else. So 3 2 6 6 6 36. minus 3 3 is 9. So 36 minus 9, you get the answer as 27. Therefore option B is the right answer for this question. Yeah, it's a very simple question. Yeah, you should not miss out on this question. Yeah, I hope this is clear for everyone. If you have not watched the earlier videos, I would strongly recommend you guys to watch the earlier videos as well. Thank you everyone.